The room didn't just go quiet. It froze the moment Imani's voice cracked through the glass office floor. "Ethan, could you pretend to be my husband for one day?" He turned slowly, eyes cold enough to make her stomach drop. And then, with the entire department watching, he laughed under his breath like she was some kind of joke. If this already made your blood boil, tap like, and subscribe so you don't miss stories where justice finally wins. Imani felt the weight of 50 stares burning into her skin. Not because she'd asked for help, but because a black woman had dared to ask him. Ethan Caldwell, the man everyone whispered about. Sharp suit, sharper tongue. The kind of billionaire who never said yes unless the world bent first. "What did you just ask me?" he said, stepping closer. His voice echoed across desks and computer screens. Imani swallowed hard. "My family is coming from out of town. They already think I'm married." It got out of control. "I didn't mean to. That's pathetic," he snapped. The word hit harder than a slap. Someone gasped. Someone else muttered, "Damn." Imani felt the heat rise behind her eyes, but refused to look away. She needed help, not as approval. She needed one day, just one day, to keep her family from tearing her apart with questions she wasn't ready to answer. But Ethan wasn't finished. "You walk into my office," he said, voice low enough to sting, "and ask me to play house for you? Miss Imani, do you have any idea how insane that sounds?" She stepped back, heart pounding. Her heel caught the metal edge of a floor plate. Files slipped from her hands. Papers scattered across the marble like broken feathers. She fell on her knees. Hard. A ripple of whispers filled the room. Phones stopped buzzing. Even the printers paused as if the building itself was watching. Imani blinked, fighting every instinct telling her to break. Not here, not in front of them, not like this. But the pain in her shoulder, the humiliation burning her cheeks. It was too much. One single tear slid down before she could stop it. Ethan froze where he stood. He hadn't meant to knock her over, but the damage was already carved into the room. He took a breath, jaw tight, voice shifting into something colder and something almost guilty. "Get up," he said quietly. Not cruel, not kind, just conflicted. Imani rose slowly, gathering her papers with trembling fingers. And for the first time that day, Ethan Caldwell really looked at her. "Why me?" he asked. And the story truly began. Imani didn't answer him right away. Not because she didn't know what to say, but because her throat was tight, holding back everything she refused to let this room see. She dusted off her palms, gathered the last crumpled sheet from the floor, and forced herself to stand tall, even though her knees still shook from the fall. Ethan watched her with an unreadable expression, his jaw still tense. But his eyes, they weren't cold anymore, more like confused, almost troubled. Imani exhaled shakily and tucked her hair behind her ear. "Why you?" she repeated softly. "Because you're the only person they believe." Her voice didn't tremble this time. Her dignity was louder than her pain. The office was silent again, but a different kind of silence now. "If this happened in front of you, what would you do? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if you stand for fairness, hit subscribe." Ethan's brows pulled together. "Your family believes you married a man like me?" "Not just believes," she said quietly. "They brag about it. They tell neighbors, church folks, cousins I've never met. They think I'm happy." The word cracked as it left her mouth. Ethan's gaze dropped to the faint mark on her shoulder where she'd hit the floor. He didn't touch it, but she caught the flicker of regret in his eyes. "Why lie at all?" he asked. The question wasn't harsh this time. It was real, human. She swallowed. "Because being single at my age and my family means pity. Means people assuming your life is empty. Means every conversation becomes, 'What's wrong with you?'" Ethan's jaw flexed again, but not with anger, with recognition. He knew something about pressure too. "And now, they want to meet your husband." She nodded. "At my grandmother's 70th. Half the family is flying in. And if I show up alone," she didn't finish. She didn't need to. Ethan took a step back, running a hand through his hair, a gesture she'd never seen from him. He was always composed, always in control. But not now. You should have told me this before, he murmured. You didn't give me the chance, she replied. Silence. Heavy. Charged. He looked at her again, really looked, and something shifted behind his eyes. A decision forming. A wall cracking. Finally, he said, voice low, come to my penthouse tonight. 8 o'clock. Imani's breath caught. For what? To discuss terms, he said, and to decide if I'm going to save you from this lie. Imani had never been inside a place like this. The elevator opened directly into Ethan Caldwell's penthouse, and for a moment she just stood there, frozen, staring at a world built from glass, steel, and money, floor-to-ceiling windows, a skyline that looked close enough to touch. Silence so pure it felt dangerous. Ethan didn't even turn around when he said, You're on time. He stood near the long dining table with his sleeves rolled up, tie discarded, hair slightly undone. The first sign he wasn't carved from stone after all. Before she could respond, he finally faced her, and Imani felt that familiar tightness in her chest. Not fear, something else. Something she didn't have the luxury to name. If you believe talent can silence every insult, share this video. And to everyone watching from the US, UK, and Canada, your voice matters. Ethan tapped the leather notebook on the table. Sit. We need rules. Imani sat slowly, hands clasped in her lap. He sat across from her, leaning forward slightly, close enough that she could see the faint exhaustion in his eyes, a crack in the billionaire facade. Rule 1, Ethan said, flipping the notebook open. This arrangement stays strictly temporary. Professional. Imani nodded. Professional. Sure, if only her heartbeat agreed. Rule 2, he continued. We rehearse everything. How we met, what we like, what we fight about. This has to be believable. Okay, she whispered. Rule 3, he hesitated, his gaze dropping to her lips for half a second before snapping back. No physical contact unless necessary. She blinked. Necessary, like what? He cleared his throat. Hand-holding. A kiss on the cheek. Appearances. Her pulse kicked. Right. Appearances. And rule 4, he added quietly. If you get any ideas about this being real, he paused. You walk away. Immediately. Imani stiffened. I'm not trying to trap you, Ethan. I know, he said, too softly, almost like he was repeating it to himself. He stood, moved behind her, and placed a notebook in her hands. Tell me the truth, he said. What kind of husband did you tell your family you married? Imani breathed in. Successful. Kind. Someone who sees me. Someone who doesn't make me feel small. Ethan froze. The air between them shifted. Heavy. Electric. Slowly he murmured, Then we'll have to make sure I play the part convincingly. And for the first time, Imani wasn't sure he was pretending. The Harlem restaurant was already buzzing when they arrived. Warm light spilling from the windows. The smell of fried catfish and collard greens drifting into the street. Laughter echoing all the way to the sidewalk. It was a kind of place where everyone felt like kin, unless you were Ethan Caldwell, a billionaire in a tailored navy coat stepping into a world he'd never belonged to. Imani paused outside the door, nerves clawing at her ribs. You don't have to do this, she whispered. Ethan buttoned his coat with calm precision. I said I would, he replied simply. And for once, there was no arrogance behind the words, just certainty. Inside, her family had already taken over the back room. Aunt Cheryl's voice carried above everyone else as she reenacted a grocery store argument. Cousin Desmond was recording TikToks. And Mama Ruth, she sat like a queen in her corner chair, eyes sharp enough to cut lies in half. The moment Imani walked in with Ethan, the room stopped breathing. Every head turned. Every fork paused midair. Someone whispered, Girl, you didn't tell us he was fine like that. Imani's face flushed with heat. Ethan stepped forward first. Good evening, he said, offering a warm nod. His voice was lower, softer than she'd ever heard it. Respectful, careful. Imani's mother, Lorraine, sized him head to toe with a look that could resurrect the dead or destroy the living depending on her mood. You're taller than she made you sound. Ethan actually smiled, a small, genuine curve. I take no credit. Genetics did the work. The table burst into laughter. Just like that, the ice cracked. But Mama Ruth wasn't finished observing. She leaned forward, her gaze locked on him like a judge evaluating a defendant. "You look like money," she said bluntly. Ethan chuckled softly. "That's not the worst thing I've been called." She didn't laugh. She beckoned him closer with 2 fingers. When he leaned in, she asked quietly, "Do you treat my baby like treasure?" Imani felt heat rush to her cheeks. "Grandma," Ethan spoke before she could finish. "She deserves more than I can describe," he said. No hesitation, no rehearsed line, just truth, steady and unflinching. Mama Ruth leaned back slowly, nodding once as if she'd heard what she needed. "Sit down then," she said. "Eat. Let me see how you act around family." Dinner was chaos. Stories, questions, teasing, arguments about cornbread recipes. But through all of it, Ethan stayed present, respectful, attentive. And when a draft swept through the room and Imani shivered, he slipped off his coat without thinking and draped it over her shoulders. The entire table went quiet again. Aunt Cheryl leaned forward. "So this one's not just pretty, he got manners too." Imani looked away, heart thudding. She didn't dare admit, even to herself, how natural it felt. Imani stood in the doorway of Ethan's penthouse again, this time feeling something she couldn't name. It wasn't fear. It wasn't nerves. It was a strange, fluttering awareness that tonight the act would start feeling too real if she wasn't careful. Ethan was already inside, sleeves rolled, tie tossed aside, a single lamp lighting the room in a soft gold glow. He looked less like a billionaire and more like a man who hadn't slept in days, thoughtful, distracted, human. "You're late," he said without looking up from the note spread across the dining table. "It's 7 o'clock, she replied. I said 6:50, but there was no bite in his tone, just something like anticipation. She placed her bag down and sat across from him, smoothing the front of her blouse. "So, what are we rehearsing tonight?" Ethan slid a paper toward her. "Our story," he said. "How we met, how long we've been together, inside jokes, anniversary date, favorite restaurants. All the things real couples don't have to think about. Because real couples don't have to pretend," she murmured. That made him pause. He looked at her for a moment too long, something unreadable flickering in his eyes before he blinked it away. "Let's start simple," he said. "When did we meet?" "At a charity gala," she answered, the same story they practiced. He corrected her gently. "At a Met fundraiser," he said. "My company donated. You volunteered at the sign-in table." "Right, volunteered." A version of her life she wished she had time for. They practiced the details, the dress she wore, the joke he made about her handwriting, the reason he noticed her. But every time their eyes met, the air thickened. "Stand up," Ethan said suddenly. Imani frowned but obeyed. "If someone asks how we stand together as a couple," he moved behind her. "You tell them like this." His hand found her waist, not tightly, not possessively, just resting there with careful pressure. Her breath caught instantly. His other hand guided hers into his. Their bodies stood inches apart. Too close, too warm, too dangerous. "We look comfortable," he said softly. "We look real." Imani swallowed, pulsed loud in her ears. "You're good at this," she whispered. "I told you," he said, voice lower now. "I don't do anything halfway." For a moment, neither stepped back. Neither broke the gaze. Neither pretended to breathe normally. Ethan finally pulled away, clearing his throat, putting distance between them like it physically burned him. "We'll practice again tomorrow," he said quietly. "Same time." Imani nodded, grabbing her purse, but not before noticing his hand still trembling slightly. He wasn't as unaffected as he pretended. The town car stopped outside the Harlem Community Center, and Imani's pulse hammered so loudly she swore Ethan could hear it. The building buzzed with music, laughter, and the scent of barbecue drifting into the cold afternoon air. This was it. No practice. No do-overs. Her entire family, all 3 generations, were inside waiting to meet the man who supposedly adored her. Ethan stepped out first, adjusting his dark blue suit jacket. He looked like a walking contradiction to the neighborhood around them. Polished, intimidating, impossibly composed. When he rounded the car to open her door, Imani hesitated. "You don't have to play it too hard," she whispered. Ethan offered a faint smirk. "I'm not playing anything." Inside, all eyes turned the second they entered. Conversations died. Plates froze midair. Imani could feel the weight of 100 curious stares pressing into her back. Then, without warning, Ethan reached for her hand, lacing their fingers gently, naturally, like he'd been doing it for years. Gasps rippled through the crowd. "Smile, Mrs. Caldwell," he whispered, his breath brushing her ear. Her cheeks burned instantly. Cousin Erica squealed from across the room. "Ah, Hell no, he fine. People swarmed them. Questions flew. Compliments hurled like confetti. Ethan handled each one with a small smile and a warm nod, switching effortlessly between polite charm and gentle protectiveness. But everything shifted when Mama Ruth stepped forward. She held Ethan's face between her palms, an act bold enough to silence the room. "You take care of my baby," she said softly, "or I'll forget Jesus just long enough to deal with you myself." Ethan didn't flinch. "Yes, ma'am," he said. "I intend to." The room erupted in approving laughter. Dinner turned into celebration, loud, messy, chaotic, the kind of joy that wrapped around Imani like a warm blanket. She watched as Ethan complimented Uncle Benny's ribs, played thumb wars with her little cousins, and even danced a little with Aunt Cheryl. Stiff as a board, but trying. It didn't feel like acting. Not for him, not for her. But the moment that stole all the air from her lungs happened during the toast. Cousin Erica tapped her glass. "To Imani and Ethan," she announced, "the couple who looks like they stepped straight out of a movie." Everyone cheered, until Ethan unexpectedly reached for the microphone. Imani's heart dropped. He cleared his throat, eyes sweeping the room before landing softly on her. "I wasn't planning to say anything," he began, "but being here today reminded me what it feels like to be home, and that is because of her." The room went silent. "Imani made me believe in second chances," he said. "In honesty, in starting over." Her breath caught in her chest. He wasn't reading a script. He wasn't rehearsing. He was telling the truth, even if neither of them was ready for what that truth meant. The next morning, sunlight slipped through Imani's curtains like it was trying to wake her gently from a dream she never meant to have. Her apartment felt too quiet, too still, and too empty after the whirlwind of yesterday. She sat at her small kitchen table, hands wrapped around a mug she wasn't really drinking from, replaying Ethan's toast over and over in her mind. "Imani made me believe in second chances." Those words weren't part of any rehearsal. Her phone buzzed. A message from him. "Can you come by?" Just 3 words, but enough to make her heart thud against her ribs. She typed back, "On my way." 30 minutes later, she stood inside his penthouse again. He wasn't wearing a suit, no armor, just a navy pullover, barefoot, hair a little messy. He looked human, more human than she'd ever seen him. "You came," he said quietly. "You asked." For a moment, neither moved, neither breathed too loudly, neither dared break what hung between them. Ethan finally gestured to the living room. A fresh cup of coffee sat waiting, exactly how she liked it. He remembered. They sat across from each other, a small table between them, but 1,000 unspoken things in the air. "I thought I'd feel relieved after the event," he said. Relieved that it was over. Relieved that the lie served its purpose. Imani watched him carefully. And I don't," he admitted. "I feel like something ended yesterday that I didn't want to end." Her chest tightened. He ran a hand through his hair, frustrated with himself. "When I held your hand, when your family welcomed me, when you looked at me during that toast, I forgot where the act ended." He met her eyes, and that scared me. Imani looked away, because she understood, because she felt it too. "This was supposed to be pretend," she whispered. "A show for a day." "I know." His voice softened, but nothing about yesterday felt pretend to me. Silence filled the space, soft, dangerous, honest. Ethan leaned forward slightly. I don't want this to be the last day I see you like that. Not as an act, not as a lie, but something real if you wanted to. Her breath hitched. She didn't rush an answer. She let the moment settle. Heavy, warm, terrifying. Then she finally met his eyes. Ethan, I don't know where this leads, but I'm not ready for it to end either. His shoulders eased with relief. He didn't hide this time. They didn't kiss. They didn't touch. They just sat there. Two people who had pretended long enough to stumble into the truth. And for once, the silence between them wasn't awkward. It was a beginning. If this touched your heart, share this story and hit subscribe so you never miss the truth behind moments like these.